Right.
and proceeded to tell him what was going on. I said, hey, I've been out here a couple months. My buddies are leaving, need a gig. And that's how I came on to to Ron Keel's radar, was through Mike. The introduction. Mike introduced me to Ron.
Wow.
Gotcha. So
And
then
that's how that.
so at that point, Steelers, I'm guess, dying, and he's putting Keel together.
That's absolutely right. As a matter of fact, I went to the last Steeler gig. It was down in San Diego. The final lineup on that, I think Greg Chase. It was Bobby Marks, on drums, he came along to Keel. Pretty sure it was Greg Chase on, and the guitar player at that point in time was a guy named Kurt James.
Oh yeah, yep, I remember him.
Yeah, definitely a Yngwie influenced guy.
Yep, yeah, he could play like that. Yes.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, Ron Steeler had run its course, had been passed on by everybody multiple times. So he was wise to reboot. He was wise to reboot it and kind of change the formula a little bit. Two guitar player band, and yeah. So that's went to see the last Steeler show would have been in March of '83, and Keel formed shortly thereafter, and we did our first show at Perkins Palace in Pasadena in April of '84.
Gotcha.
Striper was the first band on the bill.
Nice.
There was Striper, Max Havoc.
Oh
there
wow.
were famous players, some guys that went on to notoriety.
Yeah,
Max Havoc,
Kurt from Celtic Young.
Yeah, Witch.
Yeah,
oh, Witch.
And then, yeah.
Oh, Witch.
Well, wow.
Which? It was Witch. Witch.
Yeah, I know all about Witch.
We did connect with Wendy Dio in late '88. That was the other thing that I had, was talking about putting a team together. Meeting with managers, and did get some offers. Noel Monk offered to manage the band. Of course, Noel Monk being the first manager for Van Halen.
Wow.
And I remember meeting with Herbie Herbert, and he expressed an interest. But Wendy, Wendy was local, and Wendy, she just had that energy.
Mm-hmm.
She had very passion and energy, and she seemed to make the most sense, and she was like, let me get you in the studio with Ronnie, and let's get you guys some money, and let's get you, so it seemed like the right, because look, Herbie Herbert, we would have been the low on the totem pole, behind Journey and whoever else he was managing at the time. Noel Monk didn't get the vibe from, and just talking to some other folks, it was like, he's probably not the best guy. You want to hang your. Wendy just seemed to be the natural choice. So, obviously, her, her cloud, and certainly Ronnie's involvement, even peripherally, was very helpful to us. And the whole Oni episode, obviously, that put us back a year. I remember it took about a year, wasn't it, before we found Roy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was about. I've got pictures of us like throwing a football on a beach when like we were supposed to be like rehearsing, but we were all down, playing hooky.
That's right. We were at Zuma. I remember that. Yeah. Oh man, you gotta scan those. I gotta see those.
Yeah, I got them. There's volumes of pictures. I need to get to you somehow. So
all right. So
that was the detour. That was the Cold Sweat detour. And of course, we had the whole issue with the name, because we were going by Ferrari. And at one point in time, the Ferrari Motor Company did give us initial permission to use the name. And then a year later, when we came back to seal the deal, thoughts had changed on that.
That's right. They had.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, as I remember it, they actually didn't have an opposition to us releasing an album with the name Ferrari, but the opposition was putting the word Ferrari on a T-shirt and selling it.
Merch, yes.
Because back then in the late '80s, early '90s, Ferrari was making as much merchandising their name, licensing their name, as they were for cars. So that was the issue. you know, obviously the band Triumph worked something out with Triumph motorcycles. You know, they had both of those out there, but alas, we were not allowed to use the name. We were not allowed to put the word Ferrari on a T-shirt and sell it. So,
so now you have a bunch of guys that's trying to come up with the band name, and let me tell you how much fun that is.
Oh, I can imagine. I can imagine.
No, and we were trying, so everyone had ideas, but it was like, either something was taken, or something was going to cause trouble later. Like like Mark said, we had trouble with the name, and that was because there was another band in New York who had it, and our lawyer at the time said, "Hey, don't worry, you know, I got you." And it turns out he didn't get us, and the band had a better lawyer, and they said, "Go get the trademark," and they did, and they sued us.
Oh no!
The judge threw out a court. Yeah.
Well, the story I remember also was we were going to go with Crying Shame out of
we're going to do that first. Yeah.
And turns out there was a band called The Crying Shames.
Yep.
That either were, and I forget because it was so long ago that, you know, I don't know if they were still active in some capacity, but it was too close. So then in the interim, MCA had come up with the logo of the C and the S, the interlocking C and the S. We liked that. And so then it became trying to find a name that fit into that CS,
right?
You know, one that wasn't a derogatory, anything derogatory, sexual in nature. And then we landed on Cold Sweat. And as Chris mentioned, you know, we always did trademark searches, and you know, our attorney at the time seemed to think that we were going to be okay, you know. But we weren't, and we did get sued. They sued everybody. They sued us individually. I wound up having to pay some money. They sued the label. They sued the manager. They sued. They got. I think they got 50 grand out of MCA.
Wow.
But now, Chris, fast forward all these years. Now Chris has the mark. So it's funny how karma can come right back and bite. So, hey, Chris, you sue the fuck out. If they do anything.
Oh, okay? I'm ready. I am so ready.
Oh.
So ready.